Hello Taurus friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Taurus April 2022 Astrology Must-Knows Horoscope Forecast. Definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com to see all of the free goodies I make for you each month. If you forget that address by the time I am done here, then you want to click on the little more button with the arrow if you're watching on YouTube, and that will reveal, that's in the bottom right of the video, that will reveal all the links. If you are one of my podcast listeners, welcome aboard. And you can find the information in the notes underneath the podcast. So, what do we have going on in April? Oh my gosh, so much going on. It's one of my favorite months of the whole entire year, and there are quite a few special things just for Taurus. So let's go into what I am so bonkers about this month, and we'll take it piece by piece. The first big must-know is that we have almost 2 times double the sweet aspects compared to the salty ones. So yay, thank goodness. It's rare that that happens, and we have to celebrate in a big way because that means the stars are speaking each other's language, everything's in accord, they're in harmony. There are a couple of little bumps, and we do have a big outer planet transit, but that outer planet transit is in a favorable element for you. The water sign does go well with the earth sign, but there are some special things to note because that is in the energy of Pisces, which makes a favorable angle for you, which we will talk about. So it's very exciting because it's a once in a lifetime aspect that's happening, and it's in a nice angle for Taurus. Besides the fact that we have a solar eclipse in your sign. Wow, right? So we are going to talk about all those things later, but I just kind of want to lay it out for you in the beginning to kind of give you the layers of what we've got going on here. Another big must-know, one of the reasons why this is one of my favorite months of the whole year, is that we still have this beautiful open period free from personal planet retrogrades when it's time for go, 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 movement, action, clarity, momentum, ambition. And you can see more than a foot ahead of you, and things aren't being called into question constantly because of the retrogrades. So March 3rd through April 27th, we've got our first big open period of the year, free of the personal planet retrogrades. The only other one we're going to have this year is June 19th through August 21st. So we really have to take advantage of these because everything else will be sort of shrouded in retrograde. And it's not that retrogrades can't be awesome, they can. And I always talk about when we're in those cycles, what's great about them, what you can do in them, what's best to use them for. But because Mars is going to be retrograde towards the end of the year, September is when the shadow period for that transit starts. That's going to cover the whole rest of the year into 2023. So these are our 2 big active periods where you'll have more clarity, more certainty for big projects. So what kinds of things are great to do this month? Pretty much everything or anything, but anything you want longevity, permanence, anything that you want more ease and clarity about, engagements, weddings, big parties, big trips, planning detailed trips in this period for the next, mid-June to mid-August period. Anything having to do with investments, moves, big decisions, big sales, big purchases, all have much more clarity and oomph and long-term staying power at this time. So definitely very, very exciting. Make the most of this time and you will feel it. If things had been stagnating and things had been slowing down and you kept having to do double, triple work and feel like you're not being productive, that's going to change now. And I know Taurus people will be happy because I'm sure you love to be productive. I have a ton of Capricorn energy in my chart, which is very similar in this Earth energy. And I know that when things get stalled out and I don't feel like I'm making headway, it can be very frustrating. So this is a time where you'll blast through and make up for lost time, seeming lost time, over the retrograde energies that have happened in the previous months. And the momentum that started in March will continue here in April. Okay, so that's a big must know. Now, the next big must-know is that we do have birthdays, okay? So birthdays are starting for you early degree placements, April born, or if you're watching for, I don't remember if I mentioned before, this is for you. If Taurus is your sun sign, your rising sign, your moon sign, or any other placement that you watched it for Taurus, this is part of your astrological picture. And if you're a late degree Taurus, so we'll say like May 15th through the rest of the sign, or 23 to 25 degrees through the rest of the sign, then I also recommend that you all additionally watch my Gemini report or listen to my Gemini report, because you very late degree people have a more complex read, and the Taurus and Gemini readings will be relevant for you, okay? So at any case, we are having birthdays for those early degree April born people. And so what we're having for you all and for all of the Taurus placements is a gathering of energy in your 12th house. And this 12th house is going to be very prominent because you're also, from the Placidus perspective, going to be experiencing the eclipse energy here. Okay, so we'll talk about that in more detail in a bit. But first, let's define what's being activated by so many things in your chart. This is the house of dreams, the house of fears, the house of addictions, the house of places where you limit yourself. Most of our limitations come from our own minds, our belief systems, the way that we see the world. And places where you have not been free because of something you believe, because of maybe you haven't forgiven yourself, because of something you're afraid of, you have a chance to have monumental breakthroughs here at this time for multiple reasons. The eclipse being one of them, all of these movements of the Aries placements before they, bring you into your solar return, which is the birthday time, or if you're watching for another Taurus placement, the sun crossing over that placement. This is a time where you have to confront the things you're afraid of, the things you're worried about, the things that make you anxious. And the degree to which you integrate and work with those is the degree to which you can have this major rebirth, which is coming soon. Okay, so this is the time where you get confronted with the things you don't want so that you can make better use of the manifestation properties of the energies coming soon to infuse in what you do want. So those of you who have birthdays or the crossover of the sun onto your Taurus placement in the month of April, that means that you get wishes and you get super mega manifestation and intention powers. And so this is, just a beautiful time of rebirth, regeneration, renewal, clear slates, and a lot of karma is likely going to be getting cleared off here because of the eclipse in your sign. So those of you who are May-born, this is coming for you and you'll start to feel the energies shifting. But, those of you in the earlier spectrum, you'll feel it first. So what does all of this mean from the eclipse perspective? We've got a lot of things to talk about with the eclipse, and we are going to talk about all of them. But for right now, just want to point out that you are in a Taurus-Scorpio eclipse cycle that started at the end of 2021, will go to the end of 2023. This means that people with Taurus and Scorpio placements are in the hot seat for completely changing your life, clearing out karma, ancestral karma, things that have been in your blood, in your being, in your life, in your patterning, forever since you can remember and before, have a chance to be cleared out now, which means that you can have new ways of seeing things, doing things, and being in the world. And it's very exciting, very transformational. It can be very scary because even new things that are things we want, have that awkwardness of a transition. So you'll definitely be feeling that happening. So you've got a lot of energy here. You also still have a lot of strong energy bringing your friendships and groups and social circles and networking in a big way. So if you need support, you definitely have a lot of chance for support and connecting with people that can make you feel like you're not alone, and you are not alone. Okay, so don't hesitate to ask for help now. It will be very forthcoming. And the more you put it out there that you need it, the more likely it is that someone will fill that space for you, and you'll have a chance to add your creative efforts to something bigger than yourself. Okay, this is something else that's really big at this time where you can feel like you're joining in a collaboration with others so that your work and your energy can go further because you're uniting with energies that are multiplying and amplifying what it is that you're bringing. So this is a very, very cool time to connect with your tribe and people that speak your language. It's also a great time for launches, business launches. If you're a Taurus that wants to add a new level to your business or start a new business, this is one of the best months of the whole year for that. And that does include job and work opportunities as well. Okay, so something else that we've got going on, let's talk about the regeneration process. Okay, those of you earlier are going to feel this earlier. Those of you who are in the May-born, you will start to feel it, but it might stagger a little bit into May. Okay, and what this means is clean slate with your physical body, healing of your physical body, healing of your relationship with your physical body. This can also mean you're more photogenic, where you take pictures for personal or professional things. This can mean that your recognition is coming in a big way. And this can also mean that you're changing some physical habits that have not been working for you. And that can be part of the resurgence. If you need to start a new diet or anything new, this month is perfect for that because you have a lot of power behind your birth date. Remember, when you do something new and you program something into the stars through your activation, that's the birth date for that event. And you will have the stars, the energy of the stars, infused into the long term of that project or whatever you're doing. And now is a wonderful time for all of that. Okay, so now let's see. Let's talk about the fact that we've got Jupiter moving through 21 to 27 degrees of Pisces. Okay, all the Pisces placements, and we do have quite a few this month, are all making a 60-degree angle of opportunity for you. Okay, so what that means is any Taurus placement can feel the goodies from these Pisces placements. And you will all get kisses from the various movements through, because we're going to have Venus, Mars, Jupiter is still there, Neptune is still there in a long-term way. But the thing that I want to point out now about Jupiter is that it's going to be moving from 21 to 27 degrees of Pisces. So that means anyone who's in 21 to 27 degrees of Taurus is going to get a Jupiter kiss. Jupiter kisses are long-term, benevolent, optimistic, amplifying, just, one of the best types of kisses that we can get here because Jupiter is already so buoyant. So if your birthday is between May 11th and May 17th, or when the dates around that time, you're going to get your extra Jupiter kiss at this time. Now, if you want to drill down and be more sure about those, those dates and those degrees, then you can go to anniehelpsyou.com, right front and center, put your name and email address in the welcome there. You'll get access to my free newsletter and to software to run a free birth chart. Once you run the free birth chart, you can see what degrees you have. Maybe you have other placements in Taurus or other things that you didn't even know about. Now you can see if you're between 21 and 27 degrees, you get extra kisses. There are some of you that are going to get extra kisses from this once-in-a-lifetime Jupiter-Neptune connection in Pisces. Everyone in the zodiac has a chance to have amazing things from this. And especially those who are in the earth and water realms, because they're also going to be making that beautiful 60-degree angle to your placement. But those of you who are near 23 degrees, so we'll say 18 degrees to 28 degrees, the closer to 23 degrees, the more of a kiss you'll get from this once-in-a-lifetime aspect. And so that's going to relate to the dates like May 8th through May 18th, and the closer to May 13th, the more kisses you'll get from this rare outer planet aspect. Now, I did a separate video on this aspect, so definitely search for Annie Botticelli Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in YouTube. It's also going to be on my podcast to hear about the very diverse range of expression of this very rare transit. Okay, so check that out. All right, so now let's talk more about the Taurus-Scorpio eclipse cycle. We'll talk about when it happened before and what kinds of things we tend to see from general eclipse energies, and then we'll come back and talk about where it's specifically happening for you. Okay, so let's talk about some general implications of eclipses and some dates and frames of reference, and then we'll dive into the details about where you're going to see the eclipse changes in your chart and in your life. So eclipses bring big changes. They are connected to the North and South Node, which are calculated points on the ecliptic that relate to our highest expression in this lifetime, our dharma, fate and destiny, our karma, and activating our hidden gifts. And so you'll see a very big activation time. You'll feel the hand of the divine at work through synchronicity and non-negotiable trajectory shifts, major hellos and goodbyes, big windows closing and other ones opening. Eclipses tend to bring a lot of stress and drama, They can also bring a massive amount of manifestation, things that you've always wanted in many cases. So it's definitely a time where you feel like your finger's stuck in an electric socket for an extended period of time. So from the middle of March to the middle of June, we are in eclipse season. The eclipses are on April 30th and on May 16th. And this first eclipse is going to be on April 30th. It's a solar eclipse at 10 degrees of Taurus. All right, so this Taurus-Scorpio eclipse cycle started towards the end of 2021. We started to really heat that up September, October of 2021 and really felt it through January of 2022. And we are in this cycle until the end of 2023. Anything can happen from this storyline of the Taurus-Scorpio eclipse cycle at any time during these years. But it does tend to heat up and bring into the forefront, into our consciousness 6 weeks before and after the actual eclipses. That's why I said the middle of March, and then we've got one on May 16th. So we've got like to the middle end of June. This is our eclipse season, and it's very ripe with the types of things that we just listed. Now, to have a frame of reference as to the types of changes that might occur or storylines, think about the latter part of 2012 through the end of 2014. And also think about early 2004 through mid-2005. It's important to note, and I do often get this question, if something terrible happened then, does it mean something terrible is going to happen now? No, not necessarily, because there were other factors at play at that time, and it's hard to tell what changes were due to the combination of factors in those times, which might not be present at this time. But there are definitely themes that occurred at that time that are going to be coming back around now, and we'll go into the details of that for your sign here in a second. But just to kind of give some context, if you remember back to those periods of time, and the types of changes that happened then, you might see some parallels, some opportunities to make different choices, some lessons that were learned in that time frame that you are able to come back around now, and some patterns of experience, even for better or could be for worse, that you're still clearing through that could come back around for you to do some more work on. For every sign, Taurus and Scorpio relates to my stuff and our stuff. My individual sustainability, our coupleship or our relationship, your resources versus your resources shared with other people like the government or your spouse or your family, inheritances, sweepstakes, winnings, plus your individual income. This is the polarity we're talking about. So the push and pull between me and we and us and our stuff and my stuff is very strong. The material realm versus the intangible spiritual realm are all things that are going to come up into the forefront for all signs. Okay, so now that we have a nice background in the Taurus-Scorpio eclipse cycle, let's talk about where this is happening for you directly, and also talk about those of you who are going to be most targeted by the eclipse for the intensity and the changes. Everyone in the Taurus spectrum has a chance for intensity and changes to occur, life-changing changes to occur now, okay? But those of you who are closer to 10 degrees, so that's going to be basically the closer to May 1st you are, okay? So we've got a wide range. Pretty much everyone in the Taurus spectrum has something extra special going on at this time. So if you are like May 25th through May 5th, the 5th or 6th, closer to the May 1st, you are in the hot seat for the eclipse. Big life-changing trajectory shifts are very likely for you at this time. Okay, and those of you who are between 5 and 15 degrees, if you're watching for some other Taurus placement, or if you know the degree of your sun, and the closer to 10 degrees, the more you are in the hot seat. Okay, so we'll just get that established first. Now, what do we see from a Taurus eclipse? Well, to go into details about that, look for anti-Botticelli eclipses in Taurus to see the changes specific for the sign. But for the house that it's going to be in for you, we're going to talk about that now. So, from the whole house perspective, all Tauruses will have your first house awakened. What does that mean? It means activation of what it is that you're bringing into the world and the courage to bring it in deeper ways. more truth and honesty with yourself about who you are and what you want to do and what your essence is. It might be what you're doing and you're just going to do it in a deeper way, or it might be completely different. You could wake up at this time and realize, wow, I don't want to be an accountant anymore. I want to be an artist. Or wow, I'm an artist and now I want to be an accountant. You know, there's something very, very big that's happening in your identification of yourself. So whether this is from a gender perspective or whether this is from a vocation perspective or whether this is from a spiritual perspective, just any way this comes up, this is going to happen. Okay, so this is very, very, very big. And again, getting more comfortable with your physical body, any food or eating addictions or anything like that. Really, hopefully, just making the change and the shift to the awareness that your body is actually a sacred temple that houses divine energy. And the awareness and the awakening to whatever you do to your body, treat it like a church or treat it like a sacred space that is holding this divine essence. And the more that you can align with that and bring that as your truth, the more you're going to see very positive things happen in your life. Something else that you're going to see is big relationship changes. We'll talk more about that in the May report for the May eclipse, but they are dovetailing here. So changes in yourself and how you feel about yourself, how you treat yourself, also are going to be directly related to how you are in relationships and can directly relate to changes in your relationship space. Big endings, big new beginnings. Some of you might find out you're pregnant, and so the relationship with your body is going to be really different, or that your partner is pregnant, and so your identification of how you are in your relationship could be really changing. So there's a lot of really transformative energies that are abounding here. Now, from the Placidus perspective, so before we get there, so you're already going to look for any Botticelli eclipses in Taurus to see some of the other implications. There are a lot of financial things and sustainability topics that are going to be brought up in a big way. But also look for anti-Botticelli eclipses in Aries or eclipses in the first house. You can search for this in YouTube or look at the eclipse playlist on my homepage, anti-Botticelli, okay? Because that's the house that this is activating from the whole house perspective, and that is true for all Taurus placements. Now, from the Placidus chart, which is another layer of our reality and another layer of truth that's equally as valid, those of you who are April born are going to have this eclipse happen from the Placidus perspective also in the first house. But those of you who are in the middle to late degree spectrum, 11 degrees to the rest of the sign, or May born, you're going to have this happen in your 12th house or very near it. And so even those of you in the early spectrum, it's going to be close enough to your 12th house that anyone in the Taurus birth dates or placements can see the eclipses manifest in the 12th house. Now, fortunately, we've already covered 12th house energies of the kinds of things you're going to see because the Aries placements are moving through there. And this is your psychological space, the place where all of the seen and unseen realms mix. You can rewind back to see the discussion about the 12th house to kind of get an understanding there. And you can search for anti-Botticelli eclipses in Pisces or eclipses in the 12th house. And I will talk about the kinds of things I've seen happen when you have eclipse energy there. But this is really, really one of the biggest times that you've had in a very long time, this end of 2021 to end of 2023 cycle. You know, a lot is going to be happening for Taurus and Scorpio people. So just, hold on to your seat because you're in for a very wild ride. And anything that you've wanted to manifest can actually manifest. You're going to have to say goodbye to some things that you may or may not be ready for in order to have that energetic exchange for the new things. But there's definitely a lot of chance for adventure and amazing new beginnings. Okay, so I've given you lots to work with to help you make the most of the energies this month and to help you understand the energetic patterns at work and play. And if you'd like more resources, I've got all of these here. You can additionally go to the little more button, the little arrow underneath the bottom right of the video. Click on that and all of the links that I'm giving you here will be clickable, right? So if you're looking for reading options, including a beautiful, very detailed 45-minute audio of your birth chart for $33 from my brilliant husband, you can find that at AnnieBClarity.com. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. This is where you can access running a free birth chart. This is where you access my 28-day in-depth virtual coaching program called Shine for free. This is also where you'll find tons of blogs, and you get lots of other perks for being on my newsletter list. If you're looking for written horoscopes by me, always up a month early, you can go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. If you haven't seen this site, go to it. It is so beautiful. We've got, me and my team have lots of amazing astrology-inspired blogs and healthy living blogs. We've got hypnosis for all the signs. We've got healing frequencies for all the signs. I've got the written horoscopes that I write. We have yoga for all the signs. So it's just a very beautiful, comprehensive site. If you're looking for free courses on how to manifest money and wellness, you can go to lumlife.com, my school, Luminous Life Multiversity, LUMLIFE. You can also find my astrology education courses here, including my behemoth of a master course called Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery Course, which you can fully utilize even if you don't want to be a professional astrologer, but it certainly will get you up to the level where you could be and show you how to make your business a success. And payment plans are available there too. Now, I've also got 2 books out and more on the way. Planetology, How to Align with the Natural Rhythms of the Universe. You will find this on the bookshelves in all major booksellers, including all the Books A Million, all the Barnes & Nobles. It's right there on the shelf. Plus, you can get it on Amazon and through any independent bookseller. And you can find Radical Prayer on Amazon, and you can order it anywhere as well. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.